So Arsenal have finally found their striker. They have finally signed Viktor Gyokeres. So with all that is happening, Arsenal now has a striker that they can depend on to score goals. Arsenal have found their gem. So there are a few things that I want to talk about, and I think it may be important as to how we may view Arsenal for the upcoming season. So guys, like, subscribe, hit that, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. We're trying to get this to 200 strikers, and we're trying to get this by 1,000 before the year ends. All right, guys. So let's talk about it. Arsenal have found their striker. Mikel Arteta has found his striker in Viktor Gyokeres. Now, I for one, I am pleased for Arsenal. I am happy that Arsenal have found their striker. You know why? Because there is no more excuse for this Arsenal fan base and for Mikel Arteta. The fan base have been crying out, we want a striker. There has been placards, we need a striker. There has been preaching in churches and synagogues that we need a striker. There has been riots on the street that Arsenal need a striker. And finally, Mikel Arteta says, you know what? I'm going to grant your wish like the jolly Santa Claus that I am. And he has finally gotten Arsenal their striker, Viktor Gyokeres. Aren't you happy, Arsenal fans? Let me know in the comments. Aren't you happy that you finally found a striker? One that can bag you 54 goals in a season? Aren't you happy that happened? No, I have watched the fan base shun every transfer that other teams, because the tribalism is real. The tribalism against the ups is real. I have seen Arsenal fans discredit Liverpool when it comes down to Ekitike and their signing. They have discredit Liverpool when it comes down to Florian Wirtz. They have discredit Manchester City when it comes down to Cherky. They have discredit, obviously they're going to discredit Tottenham because they hate Tottenham with Kudos and Thomas Frank. But they have discredited every transfer of the opposing club. They have paid over the moon for Ekitike. Liverpool haven't gotten someone who's their quality in the Bundesliga doesn't match Cherky in the league and because Manchester City got a cheap player in Cherky, we will see how that goes. Different discussion entirely. But the excuse is no more. This season, I don't want to hear any Arsenal fan say to me that,
it's going to take a little bit of time for Gyökeres to get his feet beneath him,
No, it doesn't. Because Haaland didn't do that. Haaland came from Dortmund and scored 37 goals in his debut season. Salah came from Italy, that is not as big as the Premier League, and broke a record in 2017, 2018 and scored 32 goals. So I don't want to hear any excuses when it comes on to Viktor Gyokeres and his trying to get his feet wet and trying to get adjusted to the Premier League. Nah, you're here to score goals. And the best thing that I want to see is for him to be consistent, because if he flops, if Viktor Gyokeres flops, there is hell to pay. That's another, you know what? Whatever. But Viktor Gyokeres, this signing, I think, will help Arsenal to challenge even better than how they did last season. And I think the season before that. No, unfortunately, we know what happened with Arsenal. They had multiple injuries last season, and they tried to get a striker and trying to sign Ollie Watkins in January. It didn't happen. And so now there were multiple outlets, news outlets with Arsenal linking themselves to Sesko and now linking themselves to Gyökeres. And of course, they've gotten the more mature and proven striker in Gyökeres. All said, well done. And I have to say that I'm very happy for that signing, and I commend Arsenal for going after what they want. But how does this impact Arsenal's play, our style of play, when it comes on to Viktor Gyokeres? The first thing that I'm going to look at, is he good with his feet? Is he good with his back to goal? Because one of the things that Arsenal fans don't understand when it comes on to striker, as yes, he's supposed to be converting chances, when at least out of 10 he's supposed to be converting, to their standard, at least 7, right? But I think with Viktor Gyokeres is that I think his technical ability needs to be sharpened. I think there are a few flaws to his game when it comes on to how he interprets space. I know one of the biggest things for him is that he loves to play in transition, and the wings are the channels. So that's the word in our terminology. to hit the channels, which means that either on the left, particularly on the right side, behind the right back, that is where he operates at his best. Most of his goals have come from the left side, the right side of the opponent, and he cuts in, hits the shot, and he scores. That's him. That has been his trademark kind of goal. But again, because this is England, England adapts very, very quickly to what your strengths are. And they're not going to stop your strengths. Is that they're just going to minimize it a bit. And one of the best things that I think Arsenal are going to have to find out with Viktor Gyokeres is his link-up play as good as the other title challengers. Now, Liverpool just signed Ekitike, a very promising young baller, very good with his feet, very technical, he's great. Manchester City, they have Haaland. They have also signed Turkey, who is able to kind of take some of the burden at the link-up play as to what Haaland needs, hitting the channels. Haaland is good enough with his hold-up play. I think he's very good with his hold-up play. I think his link-up play still needs work, but that's for another topic entirely, another time. But I think Viktor Gyokeres' technical ability and link-up play needs work. And I think that is going to be interesting for Arsenal. And I think how Arsenal are going to have to break down low blocks. Last season, they struggled in mid to low blocks. Persons packing the box and packing in front of the box, 6 and 5 sometimes. And Arsenal found it very, very difficult to kind of get that person to link up and also to finish those chances when Saka is hitting crosses in. So I think that's going to be very important. But I also think for Viktor Gyokeres and for Arsenal is, can he replicate close to what he has done the past 2 seasons? That has been the question that looms and lingers not only over Gyokeres' head, but over Mikel Arteta as well. Because to score back-to-back 54 season goals for Sporting Lisbon in a lesser quality kind of league, in the Portuguese league, we understand. But to get close to even 54 or maybe even 30 goals for the entire season, I think that would be very good because the quality of the opponent has increased. Now the lights are brighter because you are now playing for one of the biggest clubs in world football. You are playing for a title challenger that lost 2 points to Manchester City in 23-24 and unfortunately had a very injury-riddled season last season. But they have challenged for the Premier League 3 seasons in a row and coming second. That spotlight is going to be huge. And I think he has not gotten that opportunity as yet or has found out what it's like to have that kind of pressure on you. We know of one striker Liverpool signed in Darwin Núñez, did not handle the pressure well and succumbed to what was happening outside of Liverpool, off the field. And I think that is going to be very, very, very integral as to how Gyökeres goes about for the entire season, because there will be pundits. English media do not hold back when it comes on to criticisms, and particularly striker, and particularly the transfer fee. The criticism is going to be one of the biggest things and pain points for Arsenal when it comes on to Gyökeres and how he manages that. No, he could just bounce it up and say, I can, whatever it is, I still get you 15 to 20 goals. Haaland has gotten his share of criticism, but he still converts his chances when he gets there. The life of a striker is to ignore the noise outside of the club and to focus on what is on the pitch. So that is going to be important. And really, the bigger question is, will this striker push Arsenal to get a trophy? No, the main trophy that they want more than anything in the world is to end the drought that is 21 years in getting the Premier League title. The last time Arsenal won the Premier League, they won it convincingly, the Invincibles. And for Arsenal now to get a striker that Mikel Arteta wants, that the board has backed Arteta for, can Viktor Gyokeres lead this team to a title? Can they win a trophy, major honors? Can they get themselves over the line in winning the Premier League? Can they break a drought and break the curse of not winning the Champions League? Because again, this is the life of a striker when it comes on to playing for a big team. And I think this is going to be one of the most career-defining seasons for Mikel Arteta's managerial career. I think this could be it. This will either tell us whether or not Arsenal will continue with Mikel Arteta as their manager. There has been multitude. Persons have been crying from the raft. Persons have said all over in channels and fellow content creators stating Arteta out. But what if he's out and there isn't any better replacement? That's a question to be asked. But guys, like, share, subscribe. Let me know how you feel in the comments. Is this a good signing or not? Is this the signing that gets Arsenal over the line? You let me know. Until next time, guys. Peace.